Welcome to this clinical supervisor emotional competence skill building program. And I'm Dr. Madeleine Muller. At the moment, we had a couple of exercises on emotional insight. We've had an exercise of becoming emotionally aware of emotions as they arise. And we're now moving on to the third level of actual emotional competence, which has to do with, well, you have these very powerful emotions now. How do we actually start managing them so that they don't interfere too much in our lives? The important thing to realize when we're talking about emotional competence is that it's not so much a psychological skill, but actually a physical skill, because survival mode is a physiological reality. So you cannot think yourself out of survival mode. Your body is flushed with adrenaline or hormones such as testosterone or oxytocin. You've got the dopamine reward system that's in there trying to get you to do stuff. And so if you want to manage emotion, you actually have to manage the stress response. You have to manage the adrenaline. And you have to do this through bodily interventions to actually interrupt the feedback cycle of the adrenaline. So if you remember our stress cycle, we often teach this to patients when we talk about panic attacks, for example, that when you are experiencing a threat, this triggers your survival brain, which triggers adrenaline, and certain things happen that keeps this cycle going. The first thing is that your body goes into fight-flight mode. So your heart rate goes up, your breathing goes up, and your muscles go all tense. As long as you are breathing fast and your muscles are very tense, your body assumes you are still fighting and your adrenal gland will continue to make more adrenaline. The second thing that happens is it affects your thinking and you start having all these negative vigilant thoughts about all the stuff that might go wrong. And that rumination, that's the thing that keeps you up in the middle of the night. That creates more adrenaline. And so merry around the cycle goes. So there's two places where you can interrupt the cycle. And it's the same advice we give people who have panic attacks. You can either affect this bodily side of it, or you can manage this biofeedback. So if you can relax your muscles and slow down your breathing, so that's where the 10 big, 10 deep breaths come from, you're actually letting your adrenal glands know that actually, no, the threat has passed and we can relax. So there's a host of relaxation exercises. There's lots of clever apps now as well that can talk you through like consciously relaxing every muscle in your body. But any exercise, yoga, stretching, if you're able to actually do something with your physical body, that actually helps to break this biofeedback cycle and switch off your adrenal glands. The second part is interrupting these thoughts and clearing your mind of all these thoughts that are irrational thoughts, usually that are busy arising. And to be able to do that, one of the sort of the most popular techniques of that is around mindfulness. But any activity that helps you to clear your mind and focus on something else will be helpful. So prayer can be used. There's lots of different meditation practices. And again, there are lots of apps that can help you with mindfulness exercises. So the idea with mindfulness is you become really, really focused on a particular sense impression in your environment, and you focus so much on that sense impression that you clear your mind of any thoughts. And again, if you're also relaxing your body, that sort of helps to reduce that sort of adrenal cycle that's going round and round. So I'm going to give just a couple of suggestions, and then I'm going to actually run you through an exercise. So PQ Reps is from Shahjar Chamin. He's the man who he wrote the book Positive Intelligence and about the saboteurs. And these are little exercises that you can actually do even when you're sitting in a crazy meeting or you're in the middle of A&E and everything is getting very stressful. Something that you can do to actually help you focus on a very specific sensory sensation. So the classic one that he always teaches is fingertip rubbing. So you rub together your thumb and your second finger. You can sort of work through all the fingers if you want. And you really, really focus on feeling that ridges of your fingerprints. And once you've done the one finger, you can move on to the next finger. And sort of you move and just focus all your thoughts. Try not to think about anything else, but just focus on that, feeling the ridges of your fingerprint. You can do a similar exercise with your feet on the ground and becoming very aware of your feet sensation on the ground beneath your feet. Simply focusing on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body, again, clearing your thoughts as you do this. You can find one sound in the even if it's the air conditioning or a sort of birds outside in the distance, and just focus on that. The body scan is the classic exercise they also use for relaxation, and you can actually then combine the two by slowly moving to different parts of your body where there's tension and releasing that tension. And then this is an old, very old, thousands of years old mindfulness exercise. Is this idea of Thich Nhat Hanh says, when you washing the dishes, wash the dishes. So when you're actually doing a routine activity like washing your hands or drinking your coffee, to only immerse yourself in that sensation and to clear your mind of any thoughts. This is a lovely exercise that we'll quickly do that you can actually do with somebody who is feeling very anxious or fearful. I've do this. This is actually was particularly designed around children, but I find it very helpful with adults as well, and you can use it very nicely also within the clinical setting. And you can explain to the patient. You can explain to them what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you're going to get time to look at each of the 5 senses, and it's called the 5-4-3-2-1. So the first thing you're going to do is, again, you will have your eyes open for this. And you're going to just focus on 5 things you can see in the environment around you. And what you want to do is you want to find something. For example, I've got a lamp here in my office and I want to look at the lamp and I go, there's a green lamp over there. And then I'm going to find a second object and I'm going to focus on the object. And in my mind, I'm going to name that object and briefly describe it whilst I look at it. Once you've identified 5 things you can see, you're going to move to 4 things you can hear. So that can be even your own breathing that you listen to. I can hear my own voice at the moment, but it might even be vehicles outside or other noises in the house or the office around you. 3 things you can touch. So usually just where we're sitting, the clothes that you are wearing. That PQ exercise that I've mentioned of feeling the ridges of your fingertips is a very nice one that you can do at this place. 2 things you can smell. So there might be a smell in the air, but you can also smell your clothes, smell your hands. You might smell the mask that you are wearing. And then 1 thing you can taste. So if you are in a situation where you have something that you can actually put in your mouth, but you can even do something like lick a finger, always ends up tasting like alcohol rub, but never mind. And then just very much focusing on that particular sensation. So you'll notice when you do an exercise like this, you get so busy in finding these 5 things, 4 things, 3 things, and keeping track of the exercise that it clears your mind. And just during those few minutes, your body actually reduces the amount of adrenaline that it's producing, and it gives you the possibility for your executive mind to naturally arise as your survival brain settles down. Thank you.